I'm Alicia.
And I'm Peter.
And today I thought we would have a chat to Peter. We're both here on the Gold Coast for the Gold Coast Disabilities.
Loving the weather, loving it.
You loving it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Peter's up escaping the cold of the Melbourne winter.
The wintry Melbourne winter.
To our lovely 22-degree days here on the Gold Coast. And
you're probably lucky you don't have me in my Speedos and that. So.
So it's a pretty unique opportunity for us today to really talk together, because you and I aren't really in the same room very often, are we?
No, not at all.
I usually take care of a lot of the expos in Queensland, New South Wales, and Peter's stuff down south or gallivanting overseas. So I thought I'd take a bit of an opportunity for us to really talk about some of those questions that people ask both of us at expos, that we get asked over and over and over again. And for all those people that don't get to go to expos, or for all of you online who are reading our website, or who maybe find it difficult to read and would prefer just to listen to some really pertinent questions and answers straight from
our lovely voices.
And our lovely voices, and see our lovely faces. I'm not one for being in front of the camera usually.
She does, she loves it.
But without further ado, I thought I'd just ask you a few questions that we've kind of put together. Let's just start with, I guess, the first question that people really ask us when they walk up to that table. So what do you do?
So we get this all the time. So we organise travel. So ClubMates is a travel agent, a tour company, and we organise the supports. So we have our own supports.
Right.
So we're a one-stop shop. You don't need to do anything else. The prices in our brochures, that's the price you pay. The only things on top of that is your travel insurance and spending money. Otherwise, everything is covered in that price. If you need extra services, like maybe an overnight stay at the start, the end, maybe a flight to get to our departure point, and we do leave from every capital city in Australia, they would be extras. But you can talk about that with us at the time of booking or a quote or whatever else.
And so what is the process of making a booking?
So it's pretty easy. We're obviously on socials, email, a phone call. Get hold of us there. We'll contact you if you're not comfortable ringing us direct. We'll contact you. We have a bit of a discussion about what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Do you want to be with a group? Do you want to be by yourself? Some people don't want to travel in a group, so we go, well, let's stick to the individual. For whatever reason, they might go, no, but I've got some people that love going away in a group because they love all the people around them. So then we try and determine, where do you want that? Where do you want to go? What do you like doing? What are your hobbies? Where do you want to see? What's your dream destination? And then from there, we can start to build your trip.
What are some of the advantages to going in on some of our group tours that you've seen in your experiences?
The groups, probably the biggest one that we get is that people have a real social connection.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Because they'll meet people they probably would never meet. It can be quite isolating in the community at times. So coming away on a group, you do get to meet a lot of people. And that's not just our passengers that you're meeting. We're going out meeting all the other punters that we come in contact with at pubs, clubs, theme parks, activities. There's a whole range of people that we deal with every day. Cafes are great. You go in there and we go, right, well, we're going to get some drinks. And all of a sudden, if you walk in with 10, 20, 30 people, you take over the cafe. The cafe loves it because they're making money.
Yeah.
We go in there and we get to chat to all the different locals around the area. That's pretty magical.
And, the community also gains an awareness for them as well, for the people in the disability community. I've got some great memories myself of getting passengers up onto the dance floor, and they were dancing all night, and the locals came dancing with them. And that pub, I think, remembered us the next year, you said, on your recent trip.
So I went on, I was in Darwin with a trip, and we had a group, and I said, guys, what do you want to do? We've got some spare time. They go, I'd really like to do karaoke. So I found a karaoke pub in Darwin, go figure. So we went to the pub, we had dinner there. The music cranked up, and it was really interesting to look at how our passengers, they talk about social and community participation. Our guys actually fanned out and met all the other punters in the pub, but it wasn't our guys going to them. then we had people coming to us.
That's right.
Because they wanted to deal with us. So now we will bring the community to us, which is a really interesting, it's interesting to look at. And then unbeknownst to me, behind me was an NDIS planner. The NDIS planner, she made herself aware of who she was towards the end. She goes, you know what? This is exactly what we want from the NDIS, because it brings not just us to them, but them to us. So you create the massive community going on there. That's a pretty cool thing. So that one there, to go ahead with that story, so I spoke to the planner for a bit. Our guys, we took them home. One of our ladies that night when we got back, it was not that late for some, not that late. It was 11:30 at night. And Megan turned around and she goes, Peter, this is the latest I've ever been up in my whole life. So we've done something so simple, just stay awake a little bit longer, that she'd never ever done.
Yeah.
A few days later, I had to stay in Darwin. I had a family thing on in Darwin. A few days later, I went back to the same pub and I reintroduced myself. I said, oh, that guy with all those crazy buggers that came around on Monday night. They go, hey, that was the best night we've had. This was soon after COVID. And they said, this was the best night we've had. And it was the busiest night we've had for a Monday night for years. Because people were coming into the pub and staying at the pub because we were having so much fun. We were bringing people into the pub. Great for the pub's business, and we just had fun.
And we had that same experience on one of our New Year's Eve trips at the Currumbin RSL. All of the locals were dancing. We completely missed the countdown and the fireworks, and the passengers did not care at all.
No.
We did our countdown on the bus and they had the time of their lives.
You can look at that Gold Coast trip even from last year, because I was taking video and things like that. I was on it as well, and it was amazing. You know, we're bringing all the people from the pub into us, and they wanted to dance with us. What a great thing to have happen in a community.
And I guess that's really the difference between something that we do and, for example, a respite home by the ocean, which is quite restful and it's a nice relaxing experience. But what we do is...
But how do they interact with the wider community? They go to a cafe or they might go to a restaurant, which is great. It's good, but certainly the groups have a magic about them that you can't replicate in a small respite home or even a very small group or a one-on-one holiday. You can't do that. The groups have a magic.
So...
at Christmas time, I'll just tell you a story. Christmas time, another thing that happened, we had flooding. I was driving the coach. It's a big 40-seat coach, trailer, flooded. The hotel room flooded. We were okay because we were up on the second and third floor. So we were all good. There's no issue there. Lightning and thunder came out New Year's Day, and the wheels of the coach and the trailer were underwater. I had to drive it out of the water. That was so much fun, and all the passengers thought it was awesome.
They thought it was awesome.
So everywhere we went, it was raining and flooded. So we had to change our itinerary for that particular trip significantly throughout. Every day was a bit different. SeaWorld was open, but they couldn't open any rides because there was thunder and lightning. So for safety reasons, they couldn't open. So we had to improvise. And so I was giving options to our passengers. What do you want to do today? We can do this or this or this. And so we actually had a really, really fun and eventful trip. And the group made it fun.
And I guess that kind of brings me to my next point, which is really asking you, why go with ClubMates, people like us, rather than go with your typical support worker? We're prepared for these kinds of situations. We have knowledge of particular destinations. If something doesn't work out, we can easily pivot to something else. We've got the vehicles, we've got the know-how, and that travel experience that perhaps a regular support worker might have travelled in the past, but have they travelled?
Not depth of knowledge like what we have.
Right.
So we have lots of backup plans. We've got some really clever people working in ClubMates, you know, me as well. And but we've done lots and lots of different styles of trips. So if something's not going to go exactly as it's planned, we can pick up and we can keep moving ahead with that. That's okay. We just pivot, divert, and we keep going. I had a lady many years ago. She said, oh, look, my son wants to go to Africa, South Africa, and go and see the animals, loves the animals. Big guy. So if you know me, I'm 6'3", about 112 kilos, so I'm pretty big. This guy was bigger than me in height and a little bit heavier than me as well. So, and he was in a wheelchair. So we flew him across from Sydney to Johannesburg. He'd get out there. He got into a truck with his wheelchair lifter, because his truck had a big wheelchair lifter on the side of it. And we went out to the game parks. While we were at the game parks, he explored all the game parks and everything else and came back. Prior to him leaving though, his mum goes, oh look, I've got 2 of his carers that are happy to take him away. I said, well, the problem with having his staff go on something like that is if one of them gets sick, what's your backup plan? So we have backup plans. We would just fly someone in, and we have done that in the past to a guy, actually for a guy in Europe. If one of the carers decides they don't want to do this, if the passenger gets sick, what do we do? What are the protocols around that? We have systems and procedures in place to make sure that that is safe. Everyone is safe. A guy we took over to London or the UK and Europe a couple of years ago. One of our support staff, his mum got really sick and he said, Pete, I want to come home. We literally, in the air, we flew a new one in and got the old one out. No extra cost to the passenger, because that's us. And I said to this lady's mum when she said, oh, what about if he takes his own carers? I said, the difference is I've got this big fat credit card, and if we need to fix something, I'll pull that out and I slap that on the table and away we go. Problem solved, because we'll pull other staff in and things like that. So we've got a lot of depth of knowledge on how to resolve those issues.
All right, well, you bring me to really good segue to the next question. Another of the most common questions that we get asked, can I take my own support worker? I don't want to go with anyone else.
So there's a few hiccups around that. The short answer is, yeah, you can. But the hiccups are, whose insurance are they going to run under? So if a passenger gets sick, gets hurt or something like that, and I go, well, I think they need to go to hospital, the support worker who's not paid by ClubMates says, no, they don't, or vice versa, who's right and who's wrong? Say the passenger actually does get quite sick and they go, right, well, who's going to pay the insurance? Because they're going to take insurance. Is it my insurance? Is it the support worker and their company's insurance? Don't know. That hasn't been tested really. We've actually had a bit of luck with employing their support worker and then we go away. But if I'm going to employ a support worker as well, I give them the rundown on how much work this is. Yes, we're going to some magic places, doing some awesome things. They're absolutely 100% no doubt about that. But you know what? The hours are long, the days are long. The work can be really hard. It can be really easy too, but the work can be really hard.
It's more hard than easy, I would say.
And every trip is a bit different. I did a trip to New Zealand 6-7 years ago, and I barely raised a sweat. It was so easy. It was super easy. But then I've done other trips coming up to the Gold Coast, and it's been an absolute train wreck. But on the front, you know, all the passengers are having a great time. We're laughing and everything else,
and that's our job to do that.
Yeah, in the back end, we're fixing issues that are popping up and things like that. But the passengers have no idea because everything's going as they expect. And
that's really the difference between what we do and, you know, your regular support worker is we're trained to deal with those kinds of stressful situations.
But we have the depth of knowledge and we have the depth of staffing. So if something goes wrong and I'm on tour, or if I'm driving, like at Christmas, we had a couple of hiccups, I ring up the office and go, I need help, I need to get this done, get that done. And we have a process in place. So whoever's driving the coach, they would ring me first, for instance, because I'm the first person they contact. If they don't get hold of me, we always have one pivot point in the company that is the point of contact, knows everything is going on for that particular problem. So if you've got your own support worker and you get sick or someone gets sick, someone gets hurt, there's a car accident, how does that fit
And even
together?
if it's not something that dramatic, it could just be someone's running late, there's a stressful moment, are they able to deal with that?
A flight's cancelled.
Or, you know, do they have the level of energy? And that for me was the big thing on my first trip. After 15 hours, I was pretty dead. Knowing that I had another 5, 6, 7 days of this, it was wow, you know. And can your support worker do that? You know.
And these are the questions that I ask them when they ring up. They go, yeah. And a lot of the home-based support workers, they're used to working, maybe 4, maybe 8 hours a day. But when you step it up and you go, well, this is what's required when you're away. There is nobody else at this motel. So if our passengers get woken up by anything during the night, you know what? We have to get up. That's just part of the gig.
Yeah.
They may not have an active night. They may not need an active night. They're just having a bad night. So we have to get up. So they can be very long days.
And it might not necessarily be, in reality, you might be assigned to a particular passenger, but someone else needs your help with another passenger. And you can't say, that's not my passenger. In the realm of teamwork, you
Exactly.
you just roll your sleeves up and get it done, because you're working in a group of people, as for the group trips.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
we all pitch in.
the work finishes when it finishes,
Yeah.
and you have to maintain that level of energy and fun. So another one of the main questions that we get asked is, how can I work for ClubMates? This sounds like an amazing job. And both of us laugh. We just go, okay, this is, are you ready for the reality of what this job actually is?
Yeah. So the first thing I say is, it is the best job in the world.
It really is.
There's no if, buts or maybes. This is so much fun. It's awesome. I was standing on the Great Wall of China and I was texting the support crew I was with going, can you believe we're getting paid to do this on the Great Wall of China? So pretty amazing. I've had snakes wrapped around my neck. So I've been to South Africa and saw a zebra crossing, but zebras crossing, not the road. It's zebras crossing the road. We had zebras crossing in front and elephants at the back at one stage. I've seen lions on a kill. So things that will just blow your mind. Disneyland, I can walk you around Disneyland. I can walk there blindfolded. I've done it so many times.
So I'd really like to...
But it's a great job, but the hours are long. You have to be able to think on your feet. So that's a big thing. If you can't think on your feet, you're not going to make it. You don't have to be an outgoing personality. We've got some really quiet personalities right through to the big personalities. We need all those. We need the people that like group hugs. They go, oh my God, and they burst into tears. We need those people. But we also need those big, strong personalities that go, nah, let's just get it done. We need a variety of people. We need males and females.
And the fun ones.
And the fun one, well, that's us.
Yeah.
So do we employ people, and how often do we employ them? It depends on what time of the year. Towards the end of the year, we tend to employ more because that's when our big trips are running. The start of the year is quiet for us, and that's good because we get to recover after our crazy season. So we're quite happy to have a bit of a break then. But yeah, we're always looking for good staff. So you've got to ask yourself, are you good? And how good are you?
Yeah, nice one. I think what I really want to ask you is, you've been doing this for a long time. So how long have you been in the business? Because it wasn't originally yours. And so tell us a bit about the history behind ClubMates.
ClubMates started as a small 6-wheel drive company. It started as Osmates Travel. The 6-wheel drive company was taking backpackers through into Central Australia doing camping. The guy was a fireman. He had a brother with an intellectual disability. And then he got asked to take away a small group of people with intellectual disabilities, because back then you didn't sort of have a variety of disabilities that were seen in public. This is, 38 years ago. So it was pretty well hidden. So he took a couple of groups away. He goes, you know what, I reckon I can do this myself. That was the birth of Osmates Travel. So that was 1988. That started up. So we kept ticking over. In 2000, he bought his first big coach. But it was only mild to moderate intellectual disabilities. Sharon, my wife, and I, we bought this business in 2006. December 16, 2006. There you go. It'll be locked in my memory forever. And then the first year, I had a massive learning curve. I'd never spoken to someone with a disability, didn't know anything about it at all.
You've never spoken to someone with a disability?
No, but look, everyone's like that. We've all come into the industry not knowing, probably. There's many of you that probably got siblings and that with them, but someone who's just come in, I just like the idea of driving a bus. That's the honest truth.
Wow.
That's why I bought it. So we bought it, and then a couple of years later, I said, how come we can't take people in wheelchairs and things like that? That was a real curiosity for me. And I spoke to a guy, and he used to move, I don't know whether he's still around, he used to move pools on a semi-trailer. But he was in a wheelchair, a manual wheelchair, and he had a wheelchair lifter to get into his semi-truck. I'm going, wow, how cool is that? I thought, yeah, you can do that. And I had a couple of people who were quite pessimistic about it. They're going, no, you can't do it. What do you know about it? I said, I know, I can hire people that know what they're doing. And that's what started. Our first ones were, we had a coach with no wheelchair lifter. We hired a vehicle that could take a wheelchair, put them behind the coach, but they joined in everything else except the actual drive because they couldn't. So step forward a few more years, we got rid of the old green beast and we got the coach that we're in now, and that's much better. So it's got wheelchair lifter, we've got 2 wheelchair positions, we've got hoists, commodes, pressure mattresses. We've got all the bits and pieces that you need. So if someone rings up and goes, look, I really need a high-low bed with a hoist and a pressure mattress, easy, that's simple. So it's really progressed along the way. So ClubMates is developing all the time, it never stops. But that's sort of the lifespan of the company up until now. And like I said, it keeps developing and changing, which is fun.
So one of the, I guess, the things that you've got to stay abreast of is all of the changes with NDIS. We've been around a long time before NDIS really came in, and it's changing every day. And so really the burning question that we get asked when people walk up to that table, other than what it is that you do, is how does this all work with NDIS?
So I'll go back to when we started. We weren't a disability service provider. So it was right up until just before or just as the NDIS was launching, I looked at it, I went, and this is part of the development of the company, we didn't have to be a disability service provider. But as the NDIS opened up, I could see the writing on the wall, so right, let's become a provider. So we became a provider. So we literally spend tens of thousands of dollars a year to make sure we are a good, solid provider. So we've got the NDIS quality and safeguards. We get audited every 18 months. We've just gone through our re-registration audit in February this year. And then another 18 months, we'll get a mini audit. Another 18 months, we'll go in for another re-registration audit. So that happens all the time. So the NDIS quality and safeguards, they protect people. We've also got the NDIA. So if there's a complaint, query or anything like that, people can put in those and then they come back to us with any concerns or whatever else. Compliments, concerns, we really like that. We like the compliments.
Compliments.
We love compliments.
Yeah. Bring it on.
So the beauty of us is because now we're a registered provider, we're quite a solid company, if you like, with lots of good systems and policies and procedures in place. So which can give you confidence that you're going, right, well, what can they claim? How do they claim and things like that?
So what can they claim? Really, the big question is, so how much can I claim? How much can I get on my plan, Peter?
So we say it's anywhere from 40 to about 60, 70% of the cost of the trip. How it works out is we have all the costs of the trip on a travel invoice, and that's fixed. We go to the NDIS, what can we claim from the NDIS in the hourly supports generally? We deduct that off cost of the trip, and then the passenger pays the balance, we claim NDIS.
So what can't they claim?
There's a multitude of things you can't claim. And you've got to be careful. You can't just rort the system, which we don't. And you always, I'd have to say, in most cases, you're going to have an out-of-pocket expense. So you can't think that you're going to go on a trip and go, oh, the NDIS will pay for all this.
Well, none of us, get our holidays paid for.
That's right. So you do have a cost. Even if you use STA, if you're going to Darwin, you're going to have a flight to Darwin. You're going to have to pay for that flight to Darwin. It doesn't matter what you do. And I'm not suggesting you use STA for these at all, not at all. It's very, very minimal, very, very minimal that we use that. And we also suggest, once you've got, and I was speaking to one of the plan managers at the conference today, once you got your quote from us, send it through to your plan manager. Get them to check it. One of the plan managers today said they do 32 individual checks on every invoice. That's a pretty good assurance that you're doing the right thing. So you need to have confidence that, number one, the provider, us, can give you the right information, send it through to your plan manager. They can check it for you to make sure that it is a legit invoice and they can pay it. You're not going to get taken for a row, and then you can go on your trip. We have had I can think of one lay off the top of my head. She probably wasn't the most honest with the NDIA, and then they said, right, well, you can pay us back.
And that's really what we want to avoid when I'm asking these questions, because...
No, we don't want anyone to have to pay money back. Just do it right first time.
And, you know, the NDIS is still a growing and maturing system, so there are so many changes, people do struggle to keep up with it. And so as people catch up, they're realising mistakes that are made, people are trying to compensate and regain that money back, and that's when we saw, oh no, we want that money back, you didn't do the right thing. So everyone's trying to tighten their purse strings, budgets are being cut, people are not being, approved for the same funding that they were being approved for. And so that's why we do what we do to the level that we do in terms of auditing and compliance.
Yeah, exactly right, exactly right. And look, there's a whole raft of people that are really good at this. So when it comes to travel, that's us, that's what we do. We're good at that. We know the line items we can and can't use, and we're comfortable using. I'm the one that logs into the portal and claims agency money. So if I'm not willing to log into the portal and claim on an invoice that we may have sent to plan manager or someone who's self-managed, it's not going to go out. It won't fly. So it has to be a proper invoice. But there's a whole raft of people that are very, very clever at what they do. So us would be the starting point. Your support coordinator, they're good. They can run an eye over it and just double check it, make sure you've got the funds in your plan. Then you've also got the plan manager. But like I said, they do their own internal checks that the invoice or the quote that we supplied is going to be able to be paid. So you've got these, I suppose, backups in your corner, which is a great thing to have. That's what you want.
That's right.
Everything in our business, nothing goes through one person. It goes through multiple channels to make sure that it goes out as we expect and hope. Look, we do make mistakes, there's no doubt about that. But the majority of our stuff is going out and it's good quality stuff. Yeah.
And we have a lot of support coordinators and plan managers come to visit us at the expos as well. And, you know, for those support coordinators that might be watching this, that come to the expos, that also might not have all the answers, the short answer that we give them at the expo in their limited time is, give us a call. Talk to us about your participant, what's in their plan, and more importantly, and this is my next, I guess, the next question that I have for you is what their goals are. Why is travel so fundamental to achieving personal goals for someone with a disability?
Yeah. Travel is so good because, like, you look at the overseas stuff. Every time you go to another country, the first thing you got to do is you've got to deal with another currency. How do you do that? And you have to budget in another currency. So not everyone's dollar is the same as ours. So you go to New Zealand, it's not too bad. But if you go to the US, if we're spending $5 there, well, it's actually about $8 or $9 in Australian dollars. And
even then, they're dealing with dollars, you know. You go to another country with another
currency. If you go to Philippines, it's pesos. You go to India, it's rupees. Go to Italy. So you go to Europe, you're dealing with euros. All the currency looks differently.
And you know, there's a lot of goals that I've seen, you know, people achieve on trips with me.
Yeah. So with your NDIS, you want to put in goals. So do you want to learn to drive? Do you want to go on a holiday? You know, what do you want? Then the NDIS will look at that and they'll go, how do we get you to achieve those goals? So, which is a great thing to have, really good thing to have.
Yeah. I knew someone that had a goal, for example, to discover some of her family roots, which were, you know, good. From another country. So that was a really good goal because it was well connected to your identity. So it's just a matter of really sitting down and understanding what it is that's going to help you achieve that independence a little bit more, you know, and live in the same way that you or I would live.
Yeah, we've got, you know, a lot of our passengers like want to live independently from their parents or family or whatever else it might be. They want to learn to drive. They want to be able to walk down the shop and buy coffee by themselves.
Even parents have come to me saying, you know, my son or my daughter is, you know, in their 20s and they're always with me or they're always traveling with me. And I would really love to let them have the confidence to go and travel with people their own age, you know, without me. So we had a lady come up to, I had a lady come up to me today and she said, oh, my daughter, no, it was her son, she said, you know, he goes away with us, but he said, you know, he doesn't want to go away with mum and dad anymore. That's just daggy. So
can he go with you? I said, yeah, absolutely, no problem at all.
And a supported trip really is a good way to do that, because they're not on their own.
And a group is a good way to do that, because now they're meeting new people and having fun and laughs and things like that.
There's been so many different stories of transformation, people just really changing in their way of being and their confidence just by going traveling. And
you learn so much.
And anyone who has travelled, I've been to a few countries myself, Peter. You've been everywhere. There's no better college than the college of the world, and travel. It teaches you a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. And every time we take someone away, they're going to learn something. I can pretty much guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Peter.
No worries.
If anyone is left with any other questions, we're really happy to answer them. So contact us, comment on wherever you're seeing this video, and we'll jump on and we'll start doing maybe some more of these whenever we get together next, which is not often, but
we will.
Send in your questions, and we're here to answer.
And put the comments down below. We love seeing and reading your comments. We do reply back to them.
We do.
Put them down below.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks.
See you again.